Good morning, everyone. I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Insurance Benefits Alleged Committee for Wednesday, November 2nd. Jerry?
Thank you, Chair Robbins. This meeting is being conducted virtually and in person, so I will do a roll call of the trustees to confirm attendance. Ms. Ginsburg?
Here.
Mr. Santos?
Here.
Ms. Gray? Mr. Bernstein? Mr. Sanchez?
Present. Good morning.
Mr. Moore?
I'm here.
Mr. Kehoe?
I'm present.
Ms. Zapanta? Mr. Pryor?
I'm here.
Mr. Harris?
Here. Chair
Robbins?
I am present.
Staff participating in the meeting include CEO Santos Kryman, DCEO Louis Lugo, AEOs JJ Popowich and Laura Guglielmo, Chief Counsel Stephen Rice, Legislative Affairs Officer Barry Liu, from Retiree Healthcare, Cassandra Smith, Director, and Kathy Magida, consultants Stephen Murphy, Richard Ward, Michael Zito from Siegel. Trustees, please use the chat option to be placed in queue. At this time, we ask all meeting participants to mute your mics until you are ready to speak, and we may now proceed with the agenda.
Thank you very much, Terry. Item 1A is the approval of the minutes of the October 6th meeting. I need a motion.
I'll move it.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any changes? Call the roll.
Ms. Gray,
Aye.
Mr. Kehoe,
Aye.
Mr. Moore,
Aye.
Chair Robbins.
I'm going to abstain.
The motion passes with one abstention.
We are now on item 2, public comment. Does anyone from the public wishing to address the board, Terry?
I have no requests.
And I am unaware of any either. We're at item 3, which is non-consent items A, 1 and 2 recommendations submitted by Mr. Liu, the Legislative Affairs Officer, that the committee approved the issuance of 2 RFPs, one for legislative advocacy services and one for federal advocacy services. Is there a motion?
I'll move approval.
I'll second.
There's a motion and a second. Does anyone want to discuss this? Any questions? Want a brief report from Mr. Liu?
I just have one question, not really a question. I wanted to just comment on part of the minimum requirement said something about being proactive. And I just wanted to know how we would define proactive. What would we be looking for?
Yes, good morning, Chair Robbins and Mr. Moore. I think that's a good question, and we'll have to look at the way they structured their RFP and how they describe, let's say, how they work with other clients, and to give us a sense of what they do and their approach, for us to get a sense of how proactive they can be.
But what would be our expectations? What would we want to see that would say this person or this group is proactive in representing their clients?
I think it would be how well they understand what we do, and be able to bring forth issues to our attention that we should stay on top of. And so I think mostly it would be an understanding of our business, so to speak, and how we operate.
Okay. Okay, thanks.
Any other questions, concerns? Go ahead and call the roll. We have a motion and a second.
Ms. Gray,
Aye.
Mr. Kehoe,
Aye.
Mr. Moore,
Aye.
Chair Robbins.
I'm an aye.
The motion passes unanimously.
We're now on item 4, information. Item A, engagement report for October 2022. Mr. Liu.
Thank you, Chair Robbins. So some items of interest for you this month. The first item is a report by the Public Retirement Research Lab that looks at spending patterns, and it's found that people with a defined benefit plan tend to spend a higher ratio of their earnings than those with a DC plan. And I think that goes the reason because they feel that there's more retirement security when they have a DB plan. So they're more comfortable spending a higher ratio of their income than, say, a DC plan that may be affected by, stock market values. So they, again, the authors speculate that they feel more comfortable just spending a larger amount of their income. Not surprisingly, housing comes in as the largest share of spending for income. And then as far as differences between the two, food and beverage seems to be something that people would, without a DB plan, spend a larger share of compared to those with a DB plan. But otherwise, it's an interesting look at just how people feel more comfortable spending because DB plans simply provide a more retirement security. The next item concerns workers that are starting to delay retirement, and the number has doubled since last year. This is from a report from the Nationwide Retirement Institute. So it found that 40% of workers aged 45 and older are delaying their retirements because of rising costs. Inflation has over the past year just been front and center for a lot of people. So if you look at some of the reasons that they're delaying retirement, the top two are inflation as well as the cost of healthcare. And generally, a higher percentage of private sector workers and government workers report these concerns. The delaying retirement is also of concern to plan sponsors because if fewer people retire, that also impacts their ability to hire new talent and to keep that pipeline moving. The next item is about New Jersey. I think last month I reported that there was an investigation about how former public employees in New Jersey continue to receive their pension benefits, even though they've been convicted of various number of crimes. So as a result of that investigation, the New Jersey legislature is starting to look at tightening the criteria that pension boards can use to decide pension forfeitures. And they're also expanding the list of offenses that can disqualify employees from receiving benefits. Currently, there's a list of 23 specific offenses, so they're just increasing those to include other offenses that can be termed first or second degree offenses, which generally result in prison time. The next item is about a Pennsylvania city that's restoring its pension plan. I think over the years, we've seen various small jurisdictions where they've gotten rid of their pension plan and then years later realize that it impacts their recruiting. And so they've restored it. And generally with smaller jurisdictions, like for this one, they've got a budgeted staff of 22 and they have a shortfall of 3 officers. So it's definitely more of an impact when there's short staffing compared to say larger jurisdictions. And then the last item is, it's that time of year again when the IRS is releasing their defined benefit plan limits for 2023. So the 2 limits that are important for LACERA's pension plan, first is the annual benefits limitation, the 415B limit. That's increasing from $245,000 from last year to $265,000 for 2023. So that's a $20,000 increase. Over the past few years, generally it's increased by $5,000 increments. And the reason it's increased so much is that these increases are tied to the cost of living. So again, it's another consequence of inflation. And then the annual compensation limit is going to be increasing from $205,000 from last year to $330,000. So that's a $25,000 increase compared to prior years when it was increasing by basically $5,000 increments. And then as far as PEPRA is concerned, PEPRA members are subject to the annual compensation limit, but they're also subject to the lower PEPRA limit. I think I indicated that those limits hadn't been released yet, but between when I submitted a report, the California Actuarial Advisory Panel did release their 2023 limits. So it'll be about $146,000 for those who participate in Social Security, and then $175,000 for those who don't participate in Social Security. So that $175,000 would apply to our LACERA members. So that concludes my report, and happy taking questions.
Thank you very much. Does anyone have any questions for Mr. Liu? Interesting stuff. Item B, staff activities report for October. Cassandra.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. Just a couple of things to report. For our most recent our retiree drug subsidy reconciliation for the plan year 2021, we received a total of $12.5 million. And then also staff attended the IFEBP 68th Annual Employee Benefit Conference last week. Very informative. Some of the topics that were discussed with regards to healthcare are listed in your agenda packet. That's it.
Anyone have any questions? Seeing none, hearing none, and seeing that Mr. Murphy is ready to rock and roll. Steve, item C, you're up.
Good morning, everyone. Attached is the experience report through the period ending 9/30/2022. First page, again, a summary of the distribution of enrollment as well as premium dollars across the various plans. No changes there. Let's see if I can move on here. There we go. Next exhibit, again, the top chart is just a recap of historical renewals for the non-Medicare population. More importantly is the chart on the bottom, which is going to give us kind of a year-over-year change for the various groups. The Anthem experience increased from 8.4% last month to 9.8% this month. There's some large claim activity that's contributing to that. The Cigna increased from 12.8 to 16.2% for the period ending this month. Again, large claim activity on a very small population is kind of driving that change. And for Kaiser, the experience report is unchanged. We would anticipate getting an update from them the next monthly cycle. The following chart gives you a quick recap of kind of the experience for the Anthem plans, both Medicare and non-Medicare across the board. What we're seeing there is that the aggregate year-over-year increase ticked up from 7.7% to 8.5% compared to last month's report. As I noted, the Kaiser experience report is unchanged. And again, as we talked about in prior meetings, the key driver here is a large number of catastrophic claims. Next exhibit is a snapshot of kind of the impact of large claims impacting the various plans. So again, you can see kind of a tick up in activity for Anthem as well as Cigna. And again, the placeholder for Kaiser reflective of the kind of 6 large claimants that we've already discussed. The next page is some updated experience with regard to the manufacturer rebates that are provided through the CVS PBM arrangement. Those have ticked up 4.9% compared to the prior period. So we're averaging about $150 per retiree per month. And again, that is a kind of budget offset. So it's been real critical and of value to LACERA over time. And the next item is a summary of the dental and vision experience. Dental claims experience continues to tick up. It increased from 7.5% last month to 8.1% this month. And then for vision claims, we're actually seeing a slight downward trend. Last month, it was an increase of 1.7% compared to this month's 1.3%. So are there any questions about the experience report?
Not seeing or hearing any questions. Does that conclude that part of your report, Steve?
It does.
How about item D, federal legislation?
I'm not here to talk about elections, so I'll keep it clean.
Yeah.
The COVID-19 public health emergency has been extended. So the new deadline now for accommodations is through January 11th, 2023. For Kaiser, the accommodations that they make with regard to testing, treatment, et cetera, will be extended through the end of the month of January. And we'll see kind of what transpires over the next couple of months, whether or not this will be extended or not. As we've discussed previously, the federal government has given the indication they'll give at least 60 days notice if they're going to end the PHE. So we should have some indications here shortly whether or not it will be extended even further or not. But that's the primary item from a federal perspective.
Thank you very much. Anyone have any final questions for Steve? Seeing none. We're on item 5, items for staff review.
I have nothing.
Nothing. All right, items for item 6, items for future agendas. So if anyone has anything that they'd like to see on a future agenda that has to do with any of the topics that this committee oversees, either submit it to me or Terry or Cassandra or Mr. Liu, and we'll get it done. Item number 7, good of the order. If anyone has anything, just raise your hand, or I won't call on everybody. So nothing will. You put your hand up, but you Your mic's turned off, so
Nope, nothing for me.
anyone have anything? I'll just make a comment about the one thing that Mr. Liu talked about, and that was people delaying retirements because of inflation and whatever else, and also the differences between spending of people who retire with DB plans versus DC plans. And I can only imagine what it will be like if one political party has their way and Medicare and Social Security are only approved for 5-year periods, and then it's all got to be reapproved again by Congress. Oh, that'll be fun. Having said that, I don't have anything else. Does anyone have anything? We're ready to adjourn. I heard somebody talk, but I couldn't hear it. Anyone would like to make a motion to adjourn then?
So moved.
And we are adjourned in about 14 minutes of the Board of Retirement meeting, right, Will?
Yes, sir. 14 minutes. I got 8:46 right here.